I am finally filming this. If you want to hear how I cured and or managed my past skin troubles, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène with another video, and this is a very personal video. I won't be talking about makeup today, and that is very strange for a channel called Makeup, right? Or HMM Makeup, whatever you'd like to call it. There's been a request for months now to do a follow-up on the first video that I offered, the first and only video I offered on my past skin troubles. And I will link the video there if you want to see it. It is one of my first ever videos on YouTube. So please be kind when you take a look at it. I indicated that if there was interest, I would do a follow-up to it with more information. And so I am doing a follow-up, and I am doing a follow-up with no makeup on because I think it's important for you to see the face that I have and with all its warts and wrinkles and all that good stuff, because I am talking about skin for me has improved dramatically from when I had so much trouble with its behavior. And it was not only on my face, but it was all over my hands. And so I want to show you that my hands are doing great. I have nothing on my arms, elbows, or anything like that. And it's important for me to show you this because I'm going to talk to you about how my skin was. Okay, so it's very, very clear. I have a little bit of dryness, but it's for anyone who has dealt with difficult skin, this, anyone would agree, is really, really good. So let's just give a little bit of a history of what I've dealt with over the years and then what I changed and how I got this result. And just full disclosure, I do have mascara on and I do have a sheer lip gloss on. So that's all that I have on my face other than morning skincare, some of which I actually toweled off a little bit because I didn't want to be too shiny and again wanted to show you the real me. Not that you can't be real with makeup on, that's not what I'm saying, but so that you can see, right? Let's go back to how I grew up, my skin experiences. I will keep it short, but I think it's good for context. When I was very young, when I was walking, I started walking on the outsides of my feet. So inside of the feet up and walking on the sides of my feet, the outside of my feet, because my skin on the bottom of my feet was absolutely horrendous. And what I dealt with was eczema or eczema, depending on how people say it. And the eczema that I had was all over. So I had eczema on my feet. My mom would put cream on my feet every night with socks on. I would have eczema all over my hands, right here, which is a rub point for shirts, in the crook of my elbow. And a little bit later on, I'd say closer to teenage years, I had eczema right here on my eyes, and I have permanent scarring on the sides of my mouth because my mouth, the sides of my mouth would split to the point where I had anxiety about going to the dentist because they make you open your mouth very wide and it would tear and bleed for all of my orthodontist visits and dentist visits. It was a really rough time. It also, if you've never experienced eczema, I can tell you that it's extremely itchy. You feel about coming on with itchiness before you end up with cracks, sometimes deep cracks, a lot of flaking, a lot of dryness. Sometimes it's hard to even open up your hands because your skin gets very, very, very tight. When it comes to more moist areas, so here or the crook of your elbow or the back of your knees, because those are sweatier areas, you get very bad itchiness, moisture rashes, that kind of a thing. And a really big thing is that this discomfort, it interrupts your sleep, it interrupts your ability to participate in sports. I sometimes had trouble holding my pencil when I was in class as a kid. Typing was a phenomenal discovery for me because I didn't have to write anymore. I could just type, and it was easier on my hands. You don't want to use soap because soap burns. It's really tough to wash your hands. I have a story when I went for a pedicure, and lotion is lotion, right? You would think. I went for a pedicure and they were just using a basic lotion. I don't know if it was Jergens or St. Ives or Vaseline or something like that. Just a basic lotion. And I had a chemical burn on my calves because of that lotion, and I was just in a panic asking them to wash it off, and I grabbed the spout to be able to wash my lower leg off, because it was like they were on fire. It was terrible. And when I would go and get manicures done or anything like that, it was a painful process, and I was very embarrassed about my nails. For years, I wore gel nails because my nails were extremely bumpy and they would break and flake and all of that. And I still have some of that because my nail bed is permanently damaged. But now I wear nail polish, and yeah, it's not smooth, but I can now do my nails at home. I'm not at the point where they're so bad that I just want to hide my hands all the time. And so, yeah, permanent scarring, but I'm much, much, much happier now than I was. So I'm giving you all of that background, not because I'm looking for any sort of sympathy. That is not the point. What I am looking for is to give you the basis of what life was like, because you can't see it anymore. If you are very aware now that I've given you all that information, you may notice some ridges in my fingers and bumps, and you may notice the scarring that I have on the sides of my mouth, but they're not visible in any way, shape, or form like they used to be. I don't have any redness on my face anymore. I may sometimes have irritated lips, which I did mention when I was talking about the ABH lip palette, that it's very drying, and my lips just couldn't handle it. They're still sensitive, but it's a fraction of what it used to be. I can handle now nail polish remover. I can handle now wearing lipstick all day long and not just for pictures and waiting to wipe it off. I can handle eyeshadow, which is a big part of why I started the channel, because a couple of years ago I found out I could wear makeup. My eczema was under control enough that I could wear makeup on my face and not want to rip my skin off partway through the day. And so that's why here I am in my 40s playing with makeup like I'm a teenager, but I feel like I'm making up for lost time and really, really enjoying myself. Now, with all that context, how did I get from being an itchy, flaky, cracky mess of a skin suit to now being able to do what it is that I want to do? There's nothing now that I can't do. I can do dishes, I can do laundry, I can use cleaners, I can do whatever it is that I want without feeling that I'm going to get the repercussions of doing what would be very normal for a lot of people in my day-to-day. It really has to do practically entirely with what I consume when it comes to food. And I came across it was just a regular TV show that was on YouTube, I guess uploaded to YouTube by a channel of some sort. And it was a focus on trying to address somebody's skin condition. And the first thing they talked about was dairy. And that dairy exacerbates skin conditions. It can be quite inflammatory. And that was a light bulb moment for me that what I consumed could be a problem. And I'll give you a very concrete example of how milk was affecting me and really made life harder for a period of my life. At age 35, I did my first couple of bodybuilding competitions. And when you are a bodybuilder, you do a lot of drinking of protein shakes. And protein shakes are usually made with whey protein, and they are a powdery substance. And I'm going to get back to powdery substances later. And I was drinking 2 to 3 a day because that was the diet that I was prescribed for bodybuilding. And it made my gym time atrocious. I would have streams of tears running down my face as I was trying to hang on to barbells, dumbbells, everything that I needed to do to get stronger and more defined muscles for the bodybuilding shows. And I still cannot, when I think about it today, I cannot believe the resolve I had of doing what I needed to do to get on stage. Especially my second show was to me a great memory of what I was able to achieve in that realm. But it did not change the fact that during that whole preparation, months before the show, that I would do my workouts and they would basically be torture. My hands would bleed and it was just terrible, just even to the point where you don't really have grip to hold on to things. The whey protein was making me sick, and I didn't know it at the time. It's only years after, when I saw the dairy discussion, that I fully understood the connection. So there's more though. Removing dairy from my diet has been huge. And I tried everything when it came to eczema control and resolution of bouts. I tried the UV lights, I tried steroid creams, I tried a lot of stuff, a lot of frankly nasty stuff for the body to just lead a normal life. And nothing was working. From the inside out though, it started to work. So dairy was a very, very big deal. Do I still eat dairy? Yes. But anything to do with whey protein or lactose, I avoid. I don't eat anything dairy, for the most part, that is less than 28% milk fat. That's right. I want more fat, not less, in my diet. And so I will eat very high fat cheeses. I will eat whipping cream, just as is, no sugar. We'll get to that later. I very seldomly will eat full fat sour cream, but that is a definite treat because I know that my skin will feel dry for a few days after that. I will not consume anything that is powered dairy byproducts. Whey protein is an absolute no-no. It is poison to me. And so from a dairy perspective, that is my situation. Now, there are a number of other known irritants for eczema that I will put all in the description box based on what is showing up repeatedly on the internet from reputable sources. I have understood that eggs are a concern for some people, that they offer an inflammatory response. I eat a ton of eggs, meaning like 4 at a time. So eggs for me is not a trigger, but it can be for others. And there's a ton of other possible irritants that I, again, will have listed below. But I am not an expert in this field. I am an expert in what works for me, and that is all I am offering. This is not a prescription for you. This is simply my experience and having gone from misery to a pretty darn good feeling life with skin that I don't feel I'm fighting with all the time. Now, there are other aspects of my diet that I have changed absolutely as well, that again eliminate items that for me are inflammatory. I get an immediate reaction if I have any grain-based products. If I have a beer, I have a reaction. If I eat bread, I have a reaction. I don't eat anything that is in flour base. That means even nut flours, coconut flour, the paleo stuff, anything that is pre-milled to meat, pre-chewed, I don't eat. So no flours of any sort, even if it's a nut flour of any sort, I get a reaction because it just hits the bloodstream too quickly and causes a response in me. That just means white powders in general, and that includes sugar. I don't eat much, if any, sugar anymore. The sugar needs to be a very, very low level ingredient. For example, maybe I might go for a salad dressing. There might be a little bit of sugar in it, but it's very, very tiny compared to all the other ingredients. I won't freak out over that. I just stay away from those things. What prompted this video is that I spent St. Patrick's Day with some family, and a number of us had skin issues. One person possibly eczema, he's just trying to figure it out. And I shared at that time what it is that I do and do not eat. And at that event, there are two things that I ate that I don't normally eat. I ate a medium-sized piece of cheesecake, and that had graham on the bottom. I think it's kind of called graham on the bottom, and then just a relatively plain cheesecake on top. And I also had peanuts that had a spicy sugar coating on them. And it's a kind of peanut that I have a lot of trouble resisting, and I would never ever have it in my house. So I had some of those, and I had the cheesecake, and I am having a reaction. So you'll see, I'll just give you a close up here. Hopefully you can see, you'll see some dryness here, and you'll see, yeah, some dryness right here. Hopefully you can see that on my hand. And the kind of wrinkliness, extra wrinkliness on the hand, that's typical of eczema. Now, so I have that dryness on both sides, but this is nothing. And the reason it's nothing is because I had that, but now for days or weeks, I will not have anything that's going to cause any sort of a reaction. So, and I have a little bit of itching, but barely any. So I now, because I eat so what I call clean for what I need to consume, anytime I consume something that I shouldn't, I see the reaction for myself. And it's a very, very good reminder that action, reaction. I consume something that I know is inflammatory for my skin condition, and within 2 days, I have the reaction. It is indeed 2 days later, and I'm feeling the effects of it. So let me just recap what it is that I don't eat in a very, very simple way. If it flies, runs, or swims, meaning I eat protein of all sorts of sources, it's fine. Any vegetable is fine. When it comes to fruit, it is usually okay because the fiber in the fruit just kind of slows things down. But I try not to consume a ton of it, meaning I'm not eating fruit all day long, but I will have a number of pieces of fruit or berries throughout the day. Although at the beginning, I was more sensitive to that. So meats, vegetables, fruit. I don't have an issue with nuts as long as they're not in powder form, so I'll eat a lot of those. Eggs, as I mentioned, not an issue. I eat quite a bit of those, and fish. I mentioned high-fat cheeses. I do not drink any liquefied sugar, such as juices or pop. I am asking for trouble if I do that. Though I do drink red wine, so my husband and I drink red wine. I, again, like I mentioned before, stay away from beer. The biggest offenders, if I would want to cause an immediate reaction, I mentioned whey protein. Anything made with flour and sugar and low-fat dairy. Ice cream is a big no-no. Those are the types of things that I avoid, and I lead a much happier and healthier life as a result of it. And there's also a great side effect, is that you also tend to have a trimmer waistline version of yourself when you eat that way as well. So I have maintained a fair amount of weight loss over a long time. I know that I'm usually hovering at 130 or less, and it used to be that I would battle to stay at 145, and I've ballooned up to 160 pounds or 72 kilos-ish. It's a new way of living now that I would not trade for the world. If anything, I joke around that my eczema is a gift now, is how I consider it, because I get an immediate response when I've behaved badly with bad food. Meanwhile, a lot of folks have inflammatory responses in their body that are hidden in heart disease, fatty liver, high blood pressure that's undiagnosed, diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I don't have that kind of inflammatory response. Mine is very visible, I feel it coming on. I feel it when I'm having a flare-up, and luckily those are few and far between, and it has ended up offering me a better version of myself in how I try to live I'll call it cleaner life when it comes to food choices and activities. So that's the reality of it. And if anything, I just wish that I could have talked to my childhood self and given her this information before I discovered it in my very early 40s, because it's been so transformative. So again, if it runs, swims, flies, if it grows from the ground or from a tree, you're probably okay. That it has been my experience, and if you are dealing with skin troubles, I feel for you very, very much. It is not easy. It can be very frustrating and frankly embarrassing. And if anything in this video has been of help to you, I am so pleased, and it made spending this time with you on what I consider a very vulnerable subject worthwhile. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much. Please share this video with a friend or relative, anyone you know who you think might benefit from it. It could be life transformative, and you'd be giving them a very good gift, a wonderful gift, really. And I do look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.